Hey everybody, Titus Nichols here. I've just taken the time to talk to you about three important things that came up during the bond hearing for Young Thug. Now, for those of you who've been living under a rock recently, Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Williams, was arrested here in Georgia for being a part of a gang called Young Slime Life. According to Georgia prosecutors in Fulton County, Young Thug is a leader of the Young Slime Life, and they've been charged, particularly he's been charged with violation of the RICO Act, which stands for the Racketeering Influence Corruption Organization. 56 counts he's been charged with, and initially his bond was denied. But I want to go over some three important things that came out during the bond hearing that he had on June 2nd. So, issue number one, what is bond? Now, some of you might be questioning, well, what's the difference between bond and bail? Here in Georgia, it is an assurance you are giving the government by saying, Your Honor, if you let me out of jail before my trial, I promise to come back to court for every hearing and for trial itself in exchange for me paying what's called a bail. Now, the judge can set that bail at a particular amount based upon how severe the charge is. Second issue, what are the things the court looks at when deciding bail? Well, the judges look at four different things, four factors. Number one, is the defendant a risk to the community? The risk of committing new offense. Number two, is the defendant a risk of a flight? Are they actually going to come back to court, or are they going to take off? Do they have the resources to take off? Number three, are they going to intimidate witnesses? And number four, are you a danger to the community? So here, the judge looked at all four of those factors as it focused on just Young Thug himself. And what the judge decided, in this case it was Judge Earl Glanville, judge decided to deny the request for bond. So in denying Young Thug's bond, Judge Glanville said, in particular, the state's proffer that they have taken proffers from other gang members, people who are in this particular indictment and others who are not in this indictment, that he is the leader of the gang. He is dangerous, and if he crossed them, he'll kill them or their families. So what Judge Glanville is saying is that he's denying Young Thug's bond because there is sufficient evidence at this point that other potential witnesses are afraid of Young Thug. They're afraid that if they cooperate, he'll kill them or their family. However, Judge Glanville did go on to say that he is willing to reconsider his decision on bond, assuming that the lawyers for Young Thug do come with additional motions. Now, judges typically do that as a way to tell the prosecution that they can't keep the defendant sitting in jail forever, that they're going to have to try his case sooner rather than later. Right now, the trial is set for January, but if there is some type of significant delay, it's pretty much certain that the lawyers for Young Thug are going to bring another motion to the judge for him to rule on so he can get bond and be released. The district attorney tried to disqualify Young Thug's lawyer, Brian Steele. Now, that's not something that prosecutors typically do. Now, Brian Steele himself is an experienced trial attorney who's handled some of the toughest criminal cases in Georgia. He's represented Young Thug and other individuals charged with serious offenses. What the district attorney was saying at this hearing was that currently, Attorney Steele represents other co-defendants on an appeal from a murder that they are using as the basis for the RICO charge, and that creates a conflict. The argument from the prosecution is that because Mr. Steele represents the other co-defendants, he might use that as a reason to convince them not to cooperate with the prosecution and testify against Young Thug. Young Thug ain't going nowhere. He's going to be sitting in jail for a little while. But that doesn't mean that he's going to be sitting there for a long time. The trial right now is set for January. But it's safe to say that if for whatever reason the trial has to be continued, for whatever reason, the judge is probably going to reconsider whether or not he wants to grant bond for him.